Okay, cool. Whatever, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Nerdoholics.
Yeah.
I'm Frank, and I'm here with Jazzie Taylor.
Yep, that's me.
How are you doing? I feel like I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, you haven't seen me in a while.
Yeah,
I'm better.
Yeah? Well, that's good.
I had a little rough patch, but I'm better now.
Yeah, it happens.
So,
it happens.
Yeah, you know.
But it's cool because you're reviving you and me with these amazing drinks you made for this week's episode.
Yeah, it's pretty tasty.
Yeah, what do you call this contraption?
I think, didn't we agree on the comedian?
I believe so.
Yeah, we're going to call this one the comedian.
It's a nice, like, reddish.
Yeah, well,
green.
we got in an argument about this before we started, guys. Because, okay, well, we'll just give you a little rundown. We're doing Joker today. The Joaquin Phoenix.
Yeah, specifically
Joker.
that one, just because they released a little teaser for the second movie happening with the release date, and officially announced that Lady Gaga is going to play Harley Quinn, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
No, you sound like you're not a fan of that. No? Huh? I feel like...
I mean, I wasn't a fan of this movie to begin with. But anyways, we'll get to that. Let's talk about the drink that I made.
First, but no, it's actually really... You know what? We did get an argument about the color.
Yes, we had an argument about the color because I was like, he doesn't wear purple in the movie at all. So I don't want to make a purple drink.
But it's an homage, and I guess...
He wears red. He wears a red suit. So I made the drink red
purplish.
with a green sugar rim because I like sugar and not salt.
Yeah.
And it's basically tequila, lime juice, grenadine, and some club soda.
Yeah, so it's like a Paloma almost.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
It's pretty tasty. Mm-hmm. So I enjoy it, and I think I like that the tequila has that little bit of like harshness to it.
Yeah.
I guess. I feel like that goes well with the movie because the movie was harsh.
Yeah,
to say the least.
It's a little bit of a movie. It's a lot of a movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of a movie.
I was like uncomfortable, like almost the entire time watching this movie.
But shouldn't an origin story of the Crown Prince of Crime be uncomfortable?
Sure.
I mean,
I don't
it's
know.
not delightful, that's for sure.
Well, no, it definitely wasn't delightful. It was just, for me, I think it was almost too real for me. Like this movie made it so real versus like.
So
kind of a little bit more of like a campy-ish feel, or like it felt real. Like it didn't feel like that was like a whole nother like universe like type of thing, like this that's make believe.
Because this is the thing is like I think we're so used to with Marvel kind of, and you know, I hate admitting this, Marvel kind of takes the cake with these movies, this whole movie universes that they make, but I feel that the difference is, and it gets mocked a lot, is that DC movies are darker, and it is because the stories are innately darker.
Oh, yeah.
A lot more happens, a lot more deaths. There's so many characters that have done drugs, murdered somebody on an accident, and it caused them to change who they are and what they have to do. And we have a ton of anti-heroes. Like, you don't really get that in the Marvel universe. Versus DC, they do, and I feel like this is another good step in that direction. I love it. Like, Batman, amazing. I loved how real it was, how it felt like it could have been a real place with real problems, and that's how I felt about this Joker. And the funny thing is, this Joker movie came out before the Batman did.
Yeah.
So this one, I think, really hit home for me because of that, because it did feel real. And, like, don't get me wrong, I don't think we've had, like, a bad Joker, but I do feel like this one was, like, the most realistic version of what could happen if somebody's mental health goes unchecked and they just don't have the resources, and a lot of bad things happen in their life, you know? Yeah. And that's what I think was the best part, is like it is rooted in realism, and
I think maybe that's the part that scared me the most, is that it is rooted in realism. Like that's could happen, you know, down the street. Like that's terrifying.
No, exactly. And it is a very scary. I saw it like 6 times in movie theaters.
Wow.
Like I saw it a lot because
I just watched it for the first time this morning.
Yeah, I know. That's the thing is, I was in love with, just from a filmmaking aspect, I love the movie so much. It's just shot so beautifully as far as like how they put the scenes together. Very cinematic movie.
Yeah.
My favorite scene, I know we're kind of skipping ahead, I'm not telling the story yet. My favorite scene is the one in the bathroom. Right after he kind of commits his first murder that we know of, because you don't really know what's going on. I feel like, so he shoots these guys. At first, I felt like it wasn't, like it was in self-defense, and then it kind of progressed pretty fast into like...
Oh, yeah, because it definitely started off that way. It definitely started off as self-defense, like, and then just progressed to him just being like, no, I'm just gonna just finish murking this guy.
This guy who just had enough of being literally the shit.
Getting shit on just the whole movie.
When he starts running away after he kills these 3 dudes, in first I think at fear, but as soon as he gets himself alone in a place where he knows he's safe, he starts doing this dance. Yeah. Which symbolizes his change, I feel like, and it was even based on like our Marcel Marceau act. Do you know who that is?
No.
So Marcel Marceau was a famous mime, a French mime, and so he does this very strange dance. But I don't know. For me, I'm watching this, and I just see somebody comfortable.
Yeah.
Which is so weird after a very uncomfortable thing.
Yeah.
And I think that's like, for me, the first part of him becoming the Joker is that scene. And it's really weird because up until that point, he really is just a guy facing a shitload of problems.
Yeah, he has a lot of, mental health problems, and like, you find out later like why he has a lot of these problems and stuff. But like, I don't know.
Did you have like a scene that stuck out? And I know you didn't like the movie, but like something that you were like, oh, this at least looks cool, or maybe a scene that was so creepy you just hated it. I don't know.
I'm trying to think, because there was a lot of things that like I felt like I had a lot of like moments like while I was watching this, like, well, fuck, like like just unexpected, but like at the same time like almost expected.
Okay.
I think one of the gnarliest ones for me was probably the scene where he kills like his old coworker. When they come over to like try to comfort,
crazy too.
Yeah, they're like trying to comfort him or whatever, and then like the one guy is like just more concerned about himself because he's the one that gave him the gun and like basically got him fired and
I
like
don't
all
know
the
if
things.
that's true though, because there's a lot of scenes in this movie that we can't tell if they're actually happening, or if it's just his not imagination, but his psychosis.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he actually gave him the gun, because and maybe he did, but I remember there's that scene when his boss, after he drops the gun in the hospital, which is such a great scene. Like he accidentally drops it and then still tries to play it off as a clown thing. Like, what a way to come into your character. And then the boss is talking to him on the phone and says, I caught you, or somebody told me that you were trying to buy a gun off somebody else.
Yeah.
So to me that sounded like he was trying to buy a gun and then got it, but I don't think he got it off that guy. I don't know if it was a psychosis.
Yeah, maybe because there's like you said, there's a lot of confusion in there on like what's real and what's not, and like all that kind of stuff. Because like I'll say for like a half a second, I thought that black chick like was actually like into him for some reason. Like I was like,
strange, right?
Yeah, I was like, okay.
Yeah, I didn't really realize it until like the second time that I was watching it. Is there's certain parts where you realize that like anytime he gets confident, you realize like, oh, this is your psychosis taking over, and you just powering through whatever's going on.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was cool that they revealed that she wasn't really with him. That she
like at the end, it's like they showed like the cut scene or whatever, like where it's like they're like together, but then all of a sudden like the scene transitions and it's just him by himself, and then you realize he was in his head. Yeah. And he was imagining all these things.
Except for the first scene with them together. I think that was real.
Yeah, the first scene on the elevator was real.
Yeah, she was just messing around, trying to connect with somebody who lived there, and just wrong person to connect with, which sucks, right?
Yeah, and then he became like obsessed with her, and like started following her around, and then like the scene, like obviously the scene where you like officially 100% find out that like it was all in his head is when he like breaks into her apartment, and she comes out of her daughter's room to see this man sitting on her couch, and she's like, "You're in the wrong apartment. Like, please, like, leave." Like.
And then she even says like, "Is your name Arthur?" Like she doesn't actually know it. You're like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, and you're like, "Oh yeah, they didn't actually do any of the things that he imagined in his head."
And the crazy thing to me was the scene where he had just, it was the same day where he was following her, and then she comes to his door, and he opens the door, or she's there, he opens the door, and she said, "Were you following me?"
Yeah.
And she's like into it, and you're almost like, "Oh, that's weird."
Yeah.
Right? You wouldn't expect it, but then you find out it's all in his head, and you're like, "Oh shit." Like,
and then you're like, okay, that makes more sense, because, if somebody was following me, I wouldn't show up at their door and be like, "Were you following me? You silly goose, you." Like, no, thank you.
Exactly. Like, But it's so funny how, like, when he thinks he's being confident, he turns into this very cool, like, very regular guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so interesting that that's just what he wants. He doesn't want to be, like, anything special. He just, well, he kind of is. But when he has interactions, he just wants to have a normal interaction with somebody that he never really gets, you know?
Yeah. And it's like, it almost is like you feel really bad for him throughout almost the entire movie. Like, I just found myself pretty much, like, taking pity or, like, being, like, sad myself for him, because it's like, he's obviously struggling with his mental illness, but there's nobody there to, like, help him with it. Nobody's willing to help him. Everybody's just mean to him, like, the whole time, and then that's pretty much what causes him to just completely go off the rails. Because everyone's just mean to him.
Yeah.
Like, I honestly feel like if there were just a few people who were just nice to him,
it might be better off.
Things might have been totally different for him. Like, just one person be nice to him. Even if Thomas Wayne had just been a decent human being to him, things probably would be night and day different.
Like, you're right. It's kind of the theme of the movie is not treating people with decency.
Yeah.
And that's what the state of Gotham was in the movie, was just everyone was on edge. Everyone was trying to look for good, and they just couldn't find it, you know? And I think that's what's great about this movie is we kind of get like he didn't fall into a vat of acid. His brain did break, but only in result of his environment. I think that's like the whole theme of the movie is that.
Well, yeah, because I was gonna ask that too. I was gonna ask, like, is this like an actual origin story, or is it like somebody's like fan fiction origin story of the Joker?
So Joker doesn't have an official origin story.
Got it.
Because just like kind of like Heath Ledger's, where he just has several explanations. There's several explanations for Joker. There's never like a concrete. There's like a semi one, but it's still like very far from this is who he is and this is like what his name was and da da da. I think Batman the Animated Series is the only one that kind of gives one actually that says like who he was before he turned into Joker, which he was like a mafia hitman, and then he fell under the acid, and then that's what turned him into Joker.
Interesting.
Yeah, because he did it in I think it was the Batman the Animated Series movie, The Phantom Ghost or something like that. But basically, Batman, it was when Batman was super young, like pre-Batman. He had just come back to Gotham after learning kung fu and detective skills and all this stuff, and he's like trying to figure out what he's going to do about Gotham. And he ends up falling in love with like a childhood sweetheart. And he even goes to his parents' grave to like beg, like, I can't fulfill my promise of coming back to Gotham and like freeing it of evil because I fell in love. And like basically his conscience won't let him stop being Batman, or, you know, stop continuing the journey to be Batman. And the girl actually ends up leaving him because her dad ended up owing money to the mob, and Joker was trying to kill her dad. So they end up leaving, and then Bruce Wayne just, she left me, I'm going to become Batman now. And then she comes back into his life way later on, and you find out that she's now a hitman. Wow. And then she's trying to kill Joker. Yeah, it's a pretty cool animated movie. Did you ever watch Batman the Animated Series?
No.
Oh, man.
No, I know, I suck.
It is.
I'm like the worst nerd ever.
It is like highly regarded in the nerd world as like some of the best Batman stories told in like video media, because it takes a lot of the comic book stuff and really puts it out there. And it's like a kids show that like was surprising that they got away with a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
It's only because it was in the 90s. Because it never shows murder, but a lot of implied deaths, a lot of implied craziness went down. So if you get a chance, watch it. I believe it's on HBO Max. So you guys check that out. It's amazing. Some of the best stories out there. But I digress. What was my point? Either way, Joker, amazing.
Yeah, Joker.
But yeah, no. So tell me some of like your, like you said, you kind of didn't like because like the realism, but like what else?
I was just uncomfortable the whole time. Like I said, like it just made me so like sad and uncomfortable. Like I felt so bad for him, but at the same time, it's like at the same time I was like, he's such a bad, like he's a bad guy. Like he's out here just murdering people and like causing chaos, and he's loving it because he's causing all this chaos.
I think that's the thing.
Yeah, but it's just like, I felt so bad for him.
Yeah.
Like me being who I am, like I'm an empath, so it's like seeing him in like so much pain and stuff. I was like, I just want to give him a hug and just tell him like it's gonna be okay. You don't need to murder people. All right? What did that one guy say? That viral video that was going around like a year ago or whatever. He's like, just relax, like eat a moon pie, drink a 7-Up, stop murdering people. Like, I mean, I feel like that's all Joker needed. Like, you know, I just needed some.
I don't know. It was a lot, man.
Wisdom.
It was a lot. Just all of it. But even like when he gets brought into the TV show and like the Tonight Show, basically.
Yeah.
Which that whole thing is taken directly from the comics. That's the one thing I do appreciate. I think the better DC movies always kind of derive directly from the comic books. You know, I love that they use, like, in the comics a lot of times where they use newscasting, like you're watching the news, and they put that in the panels. It's like the news is delivering story to you.
Yeah.
And I feel like they did that a lot in this movie through the late night show.
Well, they did that, but they also, there was a lot of newspapers and stuff too. So like, you know, you see him like pulling pictures out of like the newspaper and stuff, and like everybody's always reading a paper, or they like walk past the like the newspaper stand and stuff, and you see the news on the stand and stuff. So yeah, there was a lot of that.
Well, like visual imagery and stuff. Excuse me, but yeah, it was just really unique storytelling. But yeah, all the scenes on the late night show were really, really cool. I like the comedy club. I love that they actually use real comedians. Sam Morrill, super funny fucking guy. Super funny guy. Gets this really small cameo. The funny thing is, like, I think he has like one Comedy Central special, but he actually like tours the country like pretty often, and he's just randomly in this fucking Joker movie. Joker set as a comedian. I felt for him. I was like, you got him on the next one, Arthur. Don't worry about them. But also, how are you gonna have pro level Sam Morrill up there, and then you're just gonna throw up newbie Arthur fucking whatever Arthur Fleck up there right after? No, get the fuck out of here. You know, like that does not happen. But yeah, that was interesting in itself, just the way they kind of set that up.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be difficult though, because it's like they explain or whatever in the movie that his laughter isn't just like a thing. It's an actual like medical condition that he has. Right? So it's like, so when he gets on stage and he's trying to do his set and he's laughing hysterically at himself, it's not because he thinks he's the funniest guy ever and he just can't get through his own joke. It's because he's just so like, I'm guessing like nervous and scared and everything for being up there on that stage that he can't control his laughter, because that's how he like basically gets his emotions out, is just by hysterical laughter. And so it's like, I felt bad because I was like, come on, buddy, like you can get the joke out even if it's not funny. Come on, Frank does it all the time.
But that's the thing, like he actually reminded me of a lot of people who really want to try stand-up. I've seen it. I've seen people who like they'll wait till they're like 40 for whatever fucking reason, and then decide to do one open mic, and they say like the weirdest stuff. Because I think it's just because they don't act like it's such a far-fetched dream for them. They don't actually do the work to try to understand comedy.
Yeah.
And so, and I get it. Like my first time was awful. I mean, I have it on tape. I've watched it like once. I can't watch it, but it's true. Like if your first time, you're just trying to like get your bearings. You're just trying to understand what sensory overload for you. You know.
Yeah.
And so, but what he got out, Arthur did was, I was always told I'd be a funny comedian or something like that. And I'm like, it's.
Yeah, well, like his mom told him that he was like destined to like spread like laughter and happiness and everything. So he was like, I'm gonna be a comedian. And
I hear that all the time from like people that are older, that are like 40, 50, that try it for the first time. It's such a weird like opening line. So, and it's like pressure you're almost putting on the audience.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, buddy.
Like, hey, you better laugh because, you know, I'm doing this.
Exactly.
I'm up here for you. Like, no, guy, you're up there for you. All right?
Yes, 100%. And that's the thing. And so, but I do recommend, if you're just somebody who ever wants to fucking do it, I tell anybody to do it. Even as like a one-time experience, it is the most humbling experience of your fucking life. And it puts a lot of things in perspective. So go try it. Don't be like Arthur and go and tell the audience that they have to laugh at you because your mom told you so.
Yeah.
But it was still an interesting scene. And then even when he on the late night show, they end up getting a tape of it and then making fun of him.
Yeah,
and
that was the whole reason that they were. Like,
I thought that was fucked up. That they reached out to him and they were like, "Come on, you suck so bad. Like, what the fuck, dude?"
Well, I mean, they didn't even say that though. They were just like, "Oh, hey, like we just really want you to be on the show. Like, you want to come be on the show?" And he was like, "Well, yeah."
Yeah.
Like he's not realizing in that moment that they're just doing it to make fun of him.
Yeah.
He didn't realize it until like
Later. Yeah.
And then that's when he was like, "No, you guys only brought me here because you want to make fun of me. Like that's not cool." And then then he just goes on his little rampage.
Yep, and goes off. But that was such a good scene between Joaquin Phoenix and Robert De Niro. Like the back and forth of it. That's when I feel like he truly accepted the character of being the Joker. Because you just see his speech pattern completely different.
Oh yeah.
All the confidence in the world. He knows what he's doing, kind of, in his own way, because he never truly knows, I think, what he's doing. But he doesn't give a shit. And when you see him just blow Robert De Niro's brains out, it was holy shit. And again, a scene taken directly out of the comics. There's a comic book, the Return of the Dark Knight, which is a comic book about Batman in his 60s, had already retired being Batman, but due to Gotham being in such a terrible state, he comes out of retirement and becomes Batman again. And Joker, because Batman had gone into retirement, Joker just stopped. He kind of lost his mind. And just went to Arkham and just was a patient there. And a therapist felt like he had finally cracked Joker and made him into an upright citizen. So he was taking him on this little tour to prove I'm the fucking best therapist in the world. And he puts him on a late night show. And since it was actually all Joker's plan, since Batman had come out of retirement, he's like, this is how I'm gonna come back. And so he goes on a late night show similar and then kills everybody. Because he's like, Batman wants to come back, I'll fucking come back with a real bang. And it's just nuts. If you don't want to read it, you can actually made some animated movies, part 1 and part 2, The Dark Knight Returns. Some of the best fucking Batman. It's considered the best Batman story out there. So check it out if you can. It's really cool, interesting. It's also written by one of the most famous Batman writers, Frank Miller. You might know Sin City? Same guy. So actually, what's funny about this Joker movie is it reminded me, there was a script that Frank Miller did with another writer about a year one Batman for a movie. And the script was so dark that they just couldn't Warner Brothers would never do it. But then the script came out a few years later, online, so you can read it. But it's kind of similar to this Joker movie, just very real, very dark. Did you ever see the movie Taxi Driver with Robert De Niro?
No, I never watched that.
It's a very kind of back in the I want to say it was the 80s, maybe late 70s. But the movies that they were doing were very based in reality. And that movie was literally about this guy who was just doing drugs and doing all kinds of crazy shit, but he was a taxi driver. And you would watch the movie, you felt like that could be any fucking taxi driver out there. Same thing with this movie. So I felt like they were very, this was very Frank Miller-esque if they would actually let Frank Miller write his movies. Because they don't, even the Sin City movie he had nothing to do with.
Oh, really?
A little bit, but he got pretty much removed himself from the project because they wouldn't let him, do all the crazy shit he really wanted to do. So
that sucks.
It does, it does. But I feel like with streaming services now, maybe he can get shit done. But he's also, super old, so I don't know. He's I just want to do it, but. Either way.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Still, it just.
Disturbing.
It's just, it just didn't sit right with me. And then, the poor little midget guy.
Oh, that was,
in that scene that I was telling you
about
earlier. It was he straight murders his friend in front of the midget guy.
Yeah.
Because the midget guy was there too. And the midget guy is just hiding in the corner, behind, a chair, a stool.
Yeah.
And then Joker's just sitting there on the ground, just covered in blood, next to the dead body of the guy he just murdered. And he's like, "Hey man, go ahead and leave. It's okay. I'm not gonna hurt you." And then he goes to try to walk around, and he's like, "Ugh," because that's his friend too. And he's just dead on the floor. And he's like, "Just don't look at it. Just go. Just leave. Don't look. Just leave." And then he tries to leave, and he's fucking midget, and he can't reach the lock.
No, you forgot a part. As he's walking by Joker,
he
says, "Don't worry about it." He fucks with them, and it is the best
it was
tension breaker of the whole movie. I felt
so uncomfortable.
You're right. Like you are so uncomfortable because it's a very serious scene.
Yeah, because you're like you don't know what's gonna. He's unpredictable at this point.
Yeah.
Because you're like, okay, the little midget guy was always nice to him. He was like the one person who was nice to him. So you're like, is he actually gonna let him leave, or is he going to just murder him when he's not expecting it? Like I was like sitting there like, what's happening? Like what do I hope the little midget guy gets out. Like,
you're right. And then he had to ask for him to open the lock for him because he was too short to do it, and he lets him out. But no, I think that was such a great scene too. Like it just, See,
but the other thing I want to know though too is like, he kept murdering all these people. Like, what was he doing with what did he do with that body in his house?
He didn't. He left.
I know, but he just left it in his. Hallway?
I think when he was going to the Murray show, I don't know if you remember this, when he's in his apartment, he's actually practicing for it.
Yeah.
Remember, he's just kind of doing different reactions to what he would do. But at the end of it, he gets the gun and he puts it to his mouth. And he acts like he's going to blow his brains out. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't sure if that was like for real or if he was just fucking around. But then when he's in the changing room at the late night show, he pulls the gun out and puts it to his underneath, and then goes like that again. I'm like, oh, I think his original plan was he was gonna kill himself. I don't think he was actually gonna kill Murray, and I think in a fit of rage he killed Murray, and then just kind of said, "Fuck it." He's like, I don't need to die. I don't need to burn. This world needs to burn, kind of thing. And that's when he kind of just goes off. And even then, like a lot of it after that wasn't even. I mean, it was like the reaction to what he did, obviously, but like when they're driving away in that police car, and then he gets out, like it's just. You know, the whole town is for him because they love him now. The whole town was doing riots.
Because it's the whole town was, you know, they're tired of the rich because they don't do anything for them. They just look down on all of these people. So it's like they're like, no, like Joker had it right. Like we're gonna follow this guy because what are you guys doing for us? Nothing.
Exactly.
So. I mean, I get all of that, and I'm glad he had, you know, supporters and stuff, but at the same time, like, it's a bad guy.
No, it's definitely, it's not even like an anti-hero movie. It's literally a villain movie. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what sets it apart. I don't think we've ever had, maybe we had, but not in like the DC or MCU, we've never had a villain movie. Like even Maleficent, right? Disney Maleficent. It's not a villain fucking movie.
No, because it's more of like it shows
she did what she had to do.
Yeah, it shows like her lighter side
of doing good.
Mm-hmm.
It was still with the intent of saving the child.
Yeah.
It was never like to harm her really.
Yeah.
And so I don't think we've ever had like a true villain movie except for there was I forget what it was called, like Burn something but it basically someone took the idea of if Superman was evil.
Oh, yes.
Burn
okay.
Bright or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I remember seeing that. Like, it was like a little kid, and then, like, you were like, oh, like, it's like Superman, like, in his story, and then all of a sudden it, like, got real dark, and it was just he was murdering people, and you were like, wait, what?
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be, like,
Superman if he, like, had, like, a temper problem.
Yeah, like, if he was bad. Yeah,
if he was evil.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Even at the because I remember that movie, he, like, the mom was trying to tell him, don't be evil, and he, like, really was trying. Until I forgot something happened and he was like, nah, fuck this, and like the world's gonna fucking burn, and like so like those are like the only two I can even like think of that are like actually about the villain sticking to his evil origin.
Well, so, I feel like a lot of things are starting to get darker now.
Yeah.
Especially like even look at like that show on Amazon Prime, The Boys.
I haven't seen it, but so The Boys is another good comic that I know of. That you're right, like they're actually doing it. A comic that's like. Being more realistic of what it would be like to be a hero and have to have a business around or a brand around you and like I'm sure the temptations of doing evil shit must be tremendous considering the world the rules don't apply to you.
Yeah, like what who's gonna stop you? Like really, like that's like that's like I feel like what it kind of like gets into because like the main like superhero, like he's not a good guy. He's a really, really bad guy. But he's like the main superhero. His name's Homelander, but he's like he's supposed to be like Superman. Like he's got like the laser eyes and like all that kind of stuff, but he does evil shit. Pure evil.
Have you seen Invincible on Amazon?
I started watching it, but I haven't finished it.
Okay, so where are you?
I think I'm still at the very beginning.
Okay,
like I don't
can't
even
talk
honestly
about
really
it then, 'cause
remember.
Literally, what I'm about to talk about will.
Because I just remember it being very like intense.
No, it is.
Like,
it is like I don't want to say gory, but it kind of is.
It's gruesome. Yeah,
it is. It just shows a lot of like when they use their super strength and their fist goes through someone's brain, it goes through someone's brain.
Yeah.
But you at least know about the first episode. You watched the end where.
I watched the first episode, but I don't like it. I don't really like remember.
Yeah.
Like
so
what
I can
happened.
talk about that. So, in the first, you're basically introduced to a very Superman-like character called Omni-Man, and he has a son who turns 18, and he basically had been waiting for his son to like get superpowers, but he was like a late bloomer because Viltrumites, which is what the alien he is, usually get him pretty young, and he didn't get them until like literally the day he turned like 16 or something. And even then they were like, oh fuck, it's probably not going to happen. Then he accidentally throws some trash into space or something. He's like, oh shit. But yeah, same thing, like a Superman kind of character. And then at the end of the first episode, you see that for whatever reason he ends up killing like his version of the Justice League, and that was a pretty intense whole thing, and you have yet to find out why, but it is awesome, and it's kind of similar along the same lines, but watch it. Like,
Okay.
it is, finish it. I've been waiting for like years for season 2 to come out because the show, the comic book is based on is really fucking good. So, but another one of these comics that you guys should check out. Very comic reference heavy is this episode.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're talking about comic book stuff, so I mean, why not? You know, Batman, Joker, all the people. You know, I don't know.
If there's one hero that you could like, that you could that could go evil. Who would you want to see that would be interesting for you to see?
Ooh, a hero go evil? I'm trying to think. Who would I want? Who do you have? Do you already have one that you know that you would want? Like while I'm sitting here thinking about it.
You know what would be interesting? So we have like Reverse Flash, right?
Yeah.
Who was basically like.
Oh, are we talking just DC?
No, we can go anywhere.
Oh, any superhero? Okay.
I always have because the thing is that Reverse Flash is the antithesis of Flash. But it would be interesting to see Flash himself go evil, because the thing is Flash, depending on which one, but probably Barry Allen. Barry Allen physically creates the Speed Force every time he actually runs. So I think somebody with such control over it, it would be interesting for him to go evil, because it would be more than like the Reverse Flash. Reverse Flash just like manipulates it so he can do evil shit. Versus somebody who is like creating the Force, I think would be an interesting take on like a villain. So.
I think for me, I think I'd have to pick Captain America.
Yeah,
and the reason
cool.
why is because I hate Captain America.
What?
Because he's such a Boy Scout.
Yeah.
He's always like Mr. Goody Two Shoes, like gotta do the right thing.
Yeah.
You know, yada yada yada. You know, language. Like he's such a Boy Scout, and I fucking can't stand it. So, for me, I think. Seeing him go bad might actually make his character interesting.
So they did a thing in the comics a while back where they actually had like a universe where he's like Captain Hydra.
Oh.
Yeah. It's pretty interesting. Pretty cool. You even see him like a Captain Hydra suit. Like, it's pretty cool. Yeah. So a lot of people actually
I feel like that would make him more interesting.
Yeah. No. Like, right. Or they actually did you watch the Winter Soldier and Falcon show?
No.
So. There's a character in the comics called U.S. Agent, which is basically like the evil version of Captain America. And so in the comic books, since Captain America in the movies, you know, like he got old and he's just like peace.
Yeah.
Falcon's fucking Captain America now, right? So in this show, the government basically says we can't exist without Captain America, so we're gonna make our own Captain America, and they basically just get like their highest ranked officer and make him Captain America with no superpowers. Just kind of like ingenuity and fucking Coco. I don't know. Fucking
Coco.
You know?
I mean, I will say though, in the what was it? The Doctor Strange movie, the most recent one. The
Multiverse Madness.
Yeah, I was like, I couldn't think. All I could think of was Madness.
Yeah.
I did like Captain Carter though. I'm not gonna lie.
That was interesting.
I kind of dug her.
Did you watch
the cartoon?
What If?
Yeah. I watched a few episodes here and there. I know that they did an episode with her that was in it. And
I just feel like they grabbed too much from What If and threw it in there. Like it was lazy writing. Like give me newer, different characters.
Yeah, but at the same time, it was cool to actually see her do it though. To actually have the same girl. I don't remember her name, but have her come in and actually play Captain Carter. I was like, That's pretty cool.
It was cool to be able to like finally have an excuse to put all these characters in that, like, because they can't exist in the universe.
Mm-hmm.
They just put them in there to die, so that we had the satisfaction of seeing, like, dude, to see Patrick Stewart as the Professor X from X-Men the animated series in the fucking chair. Oh my god, like that you don't even
have no
know.
idea. Like, I was waiting the whole movie for that scene. Like, I'm just sitting there, I'm like waiting, and all of a sudden it gets there, and I'm all, Professor X, he's coming out. He's coming out.
I'm so
excited.
Like, oh, they don't even know. Like, that's one of my next tattoos I want to get is him in the floaty chair. Like, oh, I don't even care. He could be him in the floaty chair going through a Jack in the Box drive-thru. I don't give a shit. As long as he's in the little floaty chair, I'm about it. But yeah, it was cool to see that. Who else did we see? Oh, you know what? It's like they've been like they can never get Black. What's his name? Black. He can't speak because he speaks so fucking.
Oh yeah, the guy with the fork.
Yeah.
I don't remember the tuning fork guy.
But yeah, so they've been. Marvel like loves that character so much, and they try to like get him in certain things, and they just it's every time they're about to like get him on screen, they just can't. Or they actually did a whole episode with Inhumans, and he was in it, but I heard it wasn't very good. They spent like a lot of money on it too. But yeah, it was cool to actually see him in it. Black Bolt.
Yeah.
Right. It's finally cool to see him actually do it. Like actually, because like.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, yeah, it was cool to get introduced
that
to like.
He mutters a word and he explodes you.
Yeah, is interesting, but then at the same time, like. What a garbage at the same time. Fucking superhero. Like, are you kidding me?
I will give you that.
Like, what a garbage superhero.
He's not my favorite. He kind of is. Like, it's just so weird.
Like,
it's a weird.
Literally, the only thing that the Scarlet Witch had to do was just make his mouth disappear, and then he, like, made a little grunt, and his whole head exploded.
Yeah.
Like.
But also, I feel like that wouldn't have happened, because, like, if he could hear himself talk, why would that make his brain explode?
Because there was nowhere for the energy force to go.
Yeah, but
that's the that was like his power.
It's only like us perceiving his energy. Like he obviously can handle his own energy because he actually flies because he'll speak, and then the force of him he actually flies on it. So man. I don't know. That's the only thing.
The only thing I know about that guy is what I saw of him in that movie, and his he took away his mouth, head explodes.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
That's fair. But yeah,
I love the way we're not even talking about Joker anymore. Like we are just wildly off topic. Sorry, Sadie.
But
sorry, my dog is being annoying.
Needy.
Go lay down.
But
go lay down.
No, we're just talking about. I think we started talking about villains and just it's
fine. It's fine.
But it happens. It's whatever. We're here to fucking have a conversation.
That's what we do. So. We're always off topic. Yeah. When are we ever really on topic?
I know, right? Well, okay, well, to be kind of on topic, who's your favorite villain of all time?
My favorite villain?
Uh-huh.
Like
anywhere. It could be anywhere.
Like full villain?
Yeah.
I don't really know if I have a favorite full villain. I have a lot of like anti-heroes.
Yeah, I love
that
anti-heroes.
I dig anti-heroes because like I was saying about Captain America, anti-heroes are just way more interesting.
Yeah.
And like they're not always gonna make the right decision because it's not about making the right decision to an anti-hero. Yeah. For them, it's more about like, wanting what they want. Mm-hmm. It's like they're gonna protect what they want to protect, not necessarily like, oh, I have to do the right thing to save the world. Like, no, like they're gonna be like, I'm gonna save that guy because I like that guy, like or something. I just think anti-heroes are way more interesting.
Oh, you're not wrong.
But I mean, as far as like villains go,
yeah.
I don't know.
There's no one who you're like, their powers are cool, or like they kind of have a cool, like,
I mean, if I had to pick one, I mean, it would probably be like Joker, or I mean, it might be like, I did really like Two-Face growing up, like
that's cool.
Like things like that, like, I don't know.
Yeah, for me, one of my favorite villains is probably Clayface. Are you familiar?
Well, I mean, I only know of the Clayface from the Harley Quinn cartoon. So I know that version.
It's the same Clayface, but mine's probably a little more dramatic.
Yeah, so, I know that version where he's just very like campy and like just silly the whole time. Like I am an actor.
Yeah, so they definitely took a lot of he is an actor, but they took a lot of what is that? liberal
liberties. Yeah, just
with
a lot
the
of
character to make him silly.
I feel like they did that with all of the characters
Yeah, I mean, King
in that
Shark,
show. Like, King Shark is fucking ridiculous too. Like, they all are.
But in Batman the Animated Series, he is like this. He's like almost. Who would I equate him to? To like, fuck. Like no one.
Sadie.
I would almost say like,
no.
why am I forgetting his name? All right.
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, like a Matthew McConaughey kind of thing, where like he's kind of everything, you know, and he does like these very extreme roles. He'll take his body to like the extreme if he has to, and he gets known just for doing every kind of movie. He was like the movie star, and then his secret is he would use this like cream on his face that would allow him to change his face to any kind of character he needed to. So he just got known for doing all these things, and he basically ends up like using the cream so much. It's like it became like a drug. I think there was something in it, and he got addicted to it, and then he basically like I think he like falls and like he like knocks over a bunch of it on himself, and then he ends up getting stuck inside of it, and his body becomes the cream basically. That's why he can change into different things.
Big pile of poop.
Yeah, but but that's the thing. He has this like crisis, like a self crisis, because he's no longer, like he can't hold his form for very long. So he was like, oh shit, I can't even be, like he lost himself within all the characters, kind of thing. He kind of goes crazy, and I don't know. I just thought like that's just like such an interesting story. I think we are so used to seeing actors and like going through all kinds of stuff, but it was interesting to see him and then just like lose his mind and then become a villain. Like he literally had to, in his mind has no other option.
Yeah.
To make money or make ends meet. So, yeah.
Yeah, he's all right. I mean, like I said, really the only thing that I have of him is from the animated show. And the animated show is just it's so extra.
I just love how they kept the only rendition of Bane where he has that like British accent is in the freaking. I hate that movie so much. The Dark Knight Arises or whatever it is. I forget
the Tom Hardy.
Yeah.
You don't like Tom Hardy's Bane?
No, I hate it.
Oh, really?
I love those Christopher Nolan movies except for that one. That one can burn in hell. That one, no. That's the movie that Warner Brothers should have taxed her off. It makes me so mad. Because
I don't like Christian Bale's Batman at all.
Really?
So
it's not
can't
terrible. In that movie, it's terrible.
I'm sorry.
Huh?
You are a billionaire or whatever. Okay? Yeah. You have all these fancy gadgets. Yeah. Why the fuck don't you have a voice changer? I'm sorry. I will die on this fucking hill.
That had never been thought of before. It had never been done.
I will die on this hill.
But it had never been done.
You have a utility belt with every fucking gadget you could ever possibly need. You got a badass car. You got all these things, but you don't think about a voice changer. Instead, you just make a stupid voice.
Yeah, the guy that played Batman before him just used his regular voice. You know that, right?
I'm just saying.
Well, but
that would have been better. If Christian Bale would just used his regular voice, I probably would have liked his Batman.
Why?
But the fact that he had to do that stupid "I'm Batman" voice, like, no, fuck that guy. No, that's dumb.
No, the only time it bothered me was in the third one, because there's a scene where he's talking to Catwoman, and then she does the disappearing thing that he does to everyone. Nobody is around, and he still does the voice. What the fuck are you talking about, man?
I'm sorry, just the voice in general is just dumb to me.
Like,
why are you even doing it to begin with? Like,
because they don't want to recognize him. It's a very clear reason why he's doing it.
So get a voice changer. Like that should. It's not like it's even like a place where you wouldn't have one.
Yeah, but they didn't even do it in the last Batman. He didn't have a voice changer. He just changed his voice.
Ben Affleck?
No, that's not the last Batman.
Which one? Oh, you're talking about that Batman. Yeah. I don't. We have wildly different opinions on Batman. Okay. Anyways,
to be fair,
anyways, I can't not do that.
Who ever used a voice changer,
and I appreciated it. All right, it made sense. Right. Make it make sense.
It's Batman. It doesn't ever make sense.
If you're gonna change your voice, hey, it makes sense. You got a fucking thing, a cowl on your head anyway. Whatever, just put the voice changer in there. Whatever, put it on the neck part. I don't know. Perfect. Changes the voice. Got it. Good. Great. Instead of just being like, you know what, I'm just gonna go a little deeper with my voice and be like, I'm Batman. Like, no.
If I came up in a suit that did not make me look at me, and you didn't know
How? I'm sorry.
Jazzie.
No, Frank. There is no suit that you could put on where I would not know that it's you, Frank.
First of all,
there's not
wrong.
a suit.
I will prove that wrong.
Okay,
Jazzie.
I would like to see you prove me wrong.
How can I help you?
No, I'm just gonna
Distress.
lie to you. I'd be like, that's not
Where
your
is the
real
danger?
voice. Like, that's not your real voice.
Where is it going?
Stop.
No, there's no way you would never know the difference between this voice and my actual voice if I talk like this all the time and you had never heard my actual voice.
Your voice is gonna start hurting.
No, I actually do voices all the time.
No, yeah.
So I'm really
okay,
used
so
I can
finish
talk.
the episode.
I will finish the episode. Don't you? I will sound like a Jewish woman who has smoked 1,000 cartons today.
I hate you.
Don't
so
tempt
much.
me. It will
So
never
much.
change.
I hate you.
It will never waver.
I hate you so much.
And know what? This is my Batman voice.
All right. Okay.
I'm
cool
Batman.
story. Now we have Frank with a stupid ass Batman voice.
I'm Batman.
The rest of the episode.
Batman.
You're welcome, everyone.
Hello.
I hate it.
Make sure you
Anyways.
look left and right before you cross the street, little boys and girls.
Oh my
This comes from Batman. It also works as like a late night
Need more alcohol.
radio host. Hi, this is K703 with Jacob Taylor.
Did you just say Jacob?
Jacob Taylor. That's my radio name.
That's your radio
That's
name?
my radio name.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Feels very close to my name.
I know.
But
I was looking at you, and I heard my brain went JT.
uh-huh.
JT on the radio.
Got it.
KK967.
You're a ridiculous
Playing
human.
Justin Bieber back to back
Oh my god.
for the next
Stop.
3 hours.
Stop.
Baby, baby, baby.
Anyways. You're so dumb. You're so dumb.
Oh,
Okay,
man.
so I do have a question though.
Okay, go ahead. Yeah.
What happened to the black chick? Did he kill them? Or did he
so
let
that's
them
the
live?
thing, right?
Like, they didn't,
I
they
think he
didn't say.
murdered both of them.
Yeah, it doesn't say what happened.
I
It's just,
think he legit just murdered
leaves,
both of them. 'Cause
and
at
you
that
don't
point, like,
hear
he,
what happened.
no words. He literally just does the joke back to her, but not as a joke. And I was like,
Yeah.
that's terrifying.
Yeah.
That's the worst.
Yeah, so that was my question.
Yeah, no, he
like,
killed
when I was watching,
that
I was
child
like,
and he killed that mom.
yeah, I was like, did he kill them?
He had to
because
have.
like all he does is do like this, and then all of a sudden it's new scene, and you're
Yeah.
like, are they okay?
I think the hint to that is that we don't ever hear a door lock behind him because we see him go out of and we see him in the hallway. And not at one point, immediately, if he was to leave, you would have locked that fucking door.
Yeah,
So.
yeah.
And that's the thing, even at the end,
But,
like,
like,
we
I
don't
mean,
know if he actually killed that person. He's just running around the fucking place killing people. We'll find out.
Oh yeah, I mean, he definitely had to kill that psychiatrist lady. He was
Yeah.
covered in blood when he left the room. He was leaving bloody footprints. Where else was the blood coming
We
from?
don't know if the blood was
Is he on
real.
his period?
We
Like,
don't know
what's
if the
going
blood was
on?
real. The blood could have been in his head.
I don't like that.
Yeah, that's the
I
thing.
don't like that.
This movie keeps you
I
guessing.
don't,
keeps
no,
you
I
having
don't like
totems.
those type of things.
Yeah.
I don't like
She was like,
being psychologically fucked with. Okay,
You hate
I don't.
Inception?
I don't like it. I don't. I'm not a huge fan. I
Oh,
don't
I
like
love
being
that movie.
psychologically
I
fucked
love
with.
that. I love that shit.
No, I want to know what's going on. Like, explain to me what's happening because I don't like that because it gives me anxiety and it makes
Yeah.
me uncomfortable when you start psychologically fucking with me because then I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's real. I don't
No,
know
I
what's
love
not,
that.
and I don't like
'Cause
that.
For me, like when I saw Inception, I literally went back the next day and watched it in theaters because I was so. And you know what the crazy thing is? I hate going to movie theaters by myself. I've only gone to like 4 movies by myself.
I've never once gone to a movie by myself.
I would rather pay for other people to go with me than
Yeah.
fucking go by myself. So that when I went to go see Inception, I paid for our friend Ashley and her boyfriend at the time to go to the movies. And then the next day, I saw it with another friend who didn't have money, and I paid for them. I paid for fucking 5 tickets to go see a movie
You want to
twice.
know something really sad? There's only one movie that I've ever gone to the theaters, and I've seen like more than twice in the theater, and I
Okay.
saw it 4 times in the movie theater.
What movie? Willow?
Van Helsing.
Oh god, I like that movie.
The Hugh
In
Jackman.
theaters?
In
That
the
movie
Hugh
does not even need
Jackman.
to be in the theater.
Van Helsing. I saw
Van
4
Helsing?
times in theaters. Okay, you have to understand. At that time in my life when this movie came out, what was
Yeah.
it, like 2004?
Yeah.
I think it came out or something like that. So in 2004, I was young.
Yeah.
I was 14 when that movie came out. And I was obsessed with Hugh Jackman. I was obsessed with Kate Beckinsale. And then also, after I saw the movie the first time, I found out that David Wenham was in it too, who plays Faramir in Lord of the Rings. And I just became obsessed.
Who is he in the movie?
He plays Carl.
The friar?
The friar. Yeah.
Oh.
That's David Wenham. That's Faramir from
cool.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great actor and he's very underrated. I feel like. But yeah, and like when I found out he was in it too, like I was like, and his character's so great. Like I love his character, and so like I was like, I have to see this movie again. And so I don't remember who I went with the first time, but then it was like I had other friends who were like, oh, I haven't seen it yet, and I just. Any friend that said they hadn't seen it yet, I was like, let's go. Yeah. Like, I'll go with you. I'll go see it again. Like, I was obsessed with that movie. That's kind of how I am
now with the movie pass. Since I have it, I literally find any excuse to go to the movies. Just because for the price of one fucking ticket, I go to all the movies. So
I mean, it's kind
of
nice.
awesome.
Yeah, like, why would you not?
Exactly. So I like, cause before I was very choosy about the movies I saw in theaters. Like, I didn't like going to every fucking movie because it's like, I feel like you don't have to watch every movie in theaters. There's certain ones that are designed for it.
Yeah.
And so now it's like fucking all of it. Fucking, I don't get, what's that bear movie that came out not so long ago?
A bear movie?
Yeah, the bear movie.
I don't know. There's a movie about a bear?
Like a
real bear or like a cartoon bear?
No, like a cartoon bear.
Oh, I don't know.
Barrington the Bear or something like that.
Oh, Paddington?
Paddington? I went and saw Paddington.
Wait, was it Paddington 2?
Yeah. Dude, I don't give a shit. I'll see all the fucking movies. I'll go see the fucking Jack the Rabbit movie.
That reminds me of the Nick Cage movie.
Oh, I know, dude. That Nick Cage movie, I know, we're way off topic. That Nick Cage movie is, I haven't heard anything about it.
That movie's fucking epic.
Fucking amazing.
Dude, we didn't do an episode on that, did we? Or did we?
Yeah,
we did? Okay, yeah. I was going to say, like...
Legit, I haven't heard anyone talk about it after it came out. And let me tell you, it is one of the funniest fucking movies out there.
Oh my gosh, that movie's just magic.
One of my, I had started to not like Pedro Pascal after his little hissy fit about Mandalorian, and then he fucking was he was the best part of Wonder Woman 1979, but the movie sucked ass.
That movie was the worst.
So I was like, what are you doing, bro?
And it was 1984. 1979.
But this movie, saved it.
Magic.
Because it's so funny.
It's so good.
So fucking funny. So watch it.
And I feel like Pedro is also, like, he's very popular, don't get me wrong, but I also feel like he's very, like, also underrated for, like, his acting talent. Because he's, think about it, he goes from playing, like, The Mandalorian and playing on Game of Thrones to then all of a sudden being able to do this weird, crazy movie with freaking Nicolas Cage.
I want to see him doing comedies.
And like doing that movie, the Wonder Woman movie and stuff. His character in that movie was kind of a little weird and a little off.
His acting in the movie was good.
Yes.
I just hated the movie.
Yeah, the movie was garbage.
Yeah, he, as an actor, he's like really fucking good.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's great. He's great.
So.
But I don't. Speaking of actors though, like we didn't actually talk about Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh, that's fair.
I'm not a fan. I don't like Joaquin Phoenix.
What do you mean?
That's probably one of the main reasons why I never watched this movie.
This movie solidified him for me.
Yeah, no, I'm
because
not
it's he's the kind of person that will adapt to any and be that character, like truly become that fucking person. Yeah. And for me, like, it made me want to see him do more horror stuff. I know you're not a super big fan of horror, but have you seen Midsummer? So Midsummer isn't like it's a horror movie, but not like, there's no jump scenes. There's no jump.
Yeah, it's a psychological horror movie, which, again, not a fan.
But
psychologically fucked. I don't want to be it.
The storytelling is so good, which is why I liked it a lot. The first one, the second one kind of sucked.
I don't do that.
The first one was really good because there wasn't a lot of jump scares. It was a lot of storytelling, a lot of lore to what was happening. Mm-hmm. And so the people who made Midsummer, who made Vitch, and who made Hereditary, a lot of these movies are a lot about the storytelling. And so I guess they're going to do a movie with him. And I'm really excited for it because Midsummer is a story about this girl who, unfortunately, she has a lot of mental issues, but a lot of it is like codependency, and she can't like do things on her own, and she's very dependent on her boyfriend for emotional support. And he's an asshole, like 100% asshole. Doesn't know how to deal with somebody like her, and he was trying to break up with her, but at the same time, her parents, her sister, commits suicide and then kills the parents as well. Like all three of them. She does carbon monoxide poisoning in the house.
No shit.
Takes them all out. Super sad. Sends her into a huge spiral. She doesn't know what the fuck's going on in her life. Like I imagine that must fucking be terrible.
Yeah.
And so the boyfriend doesn't break up with her because he doesn't know what the fuck to do with himself. Like he's like, oh, I can't do it now. And so they're planning. He had been planning a trip with his friends to go to some festival like in the middle of Germany or like what is it? Not like he wanted to say Scotland, like Dutch area, like those hills,
like Sweden, like the
yes,
Netherlands?
like the Netherlands, like over there. But one of their like transfer students, like foreign students, was from over there. He was raised in like a commune, like away from cities, like it's just them. And he's like, oh yeah, my people do this festival every year, every 100 years or whatever. It's like a celebration of life. And so they're all sociology majors, so they want to go and do like their what is that when you're trying to get your doctorate? It's like a paper you do your thesis or whatever.
Oh yeah, your thesis.
They do their thesis on this festival, so it's like, oh, let's go. And what they don't realize is that the festival is a celebration of life, but they believe that life has cycles, and that instead of just waiting till you're old and you die, they basically sacrifice their lives at this festival to like give back to the earth so a new life can be born. Like that's what they believe in. And so, yeah, it's kind of like crazy and they don't know what they're getting into and there's a lot of drugs involved and basically they kind of get deceived into like, there's like a game that kind of happens throughout this thing they don't know about that's going on. And I don't want to give too much away for people to see it, but go and watch it. There's a lot more that goes into it. But what was my point of this? Oh, but yeah, the whole movie.
Joaquin Phoenix, he's going to be
I would have
doing
loved to see, I would have loved to see him in that movie. I think he would have done extremely fucking well. So the fact that they're going to work together with him on another movie, I cannot wait for it. Because their movie is just so, again, like I know you don't like psychological thrillers, but that's what it is. It's just keeping you on your edge of your toes of like what could happen. You're like, oh man, oh man, oh man. And each turn, like I feel like I'm peeking around each corner trying to find out what's happening, and then it happens, like, oh my god, it's crazy. So
it sounds like it.
It is. It's just,
but I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I can appreciate Joaquin Phoenix, but at the same time, like I'm just not a fan because of the movies that he makes.
Yeah.
Like the movies he makes, I'm not a fan of. So which in turn makes me like kind of like not a fan of his necessarily.
His vibe that he puts that he's.
Yeah,
like being
Like I'm not a big fan.
Yeah, I get that.
And like also, one of the first movies I ever remember seeing him in was Signs, and that movie fucked me up. Okay, like that movie messed me up as a child. Aliens are coming to get me.
Yeah.
Like I was always afraid that the fucking claws were gonna come underneath the door. You have no idea. That movie was no. The scene where the alien walks past from like at the birthday party and they see it through the window. Nope. It messed me up.
You know what alien movie just made me mad? What was that Tom Cruise one?
The one where he like keeps going back in time.
No, that was cool. That one's really fucking cool. I hope they're trying
War of the Worlds?
Yeah, I fucking hated that movie.
Oh, I never even actually saw it because I
movie.
heard that it was just like complete garbage.
It's not. The idea isn't bad because it's a book. The book is actually pretty good because they didn't have enough time to go into like what needed to be told in the movie, and that was the problem with it. There wasn't just enough things there for us to like see to truly appreciate the story.
I get that.
But yeah, no, some of those alien movies make me mad because they're just garbage.
But yeah, I mean, like I said, he's probably generally a good actor and everything, but for the most part, like I just don't like the movies that he does.
Yeah.
For the most
Well,
part.
this I think it's interesting because like this movie doesn't leave a whole lot of room for a sequel, and I honestly didn't think he was going to do a sequel. If anything, I thought he was just going to do another character, not Joaquin, the writer director.
Yeah.
I thought he was going to just do another villain character and just kind of do these one-offs. I thought that would be such
like
a
maybe
great
like do
way
one
to
for
do
like
it.
Scarecrow.
Dude, if you did a
and,
Mr. Freeze one.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Oh my! They did a.
Can we get Arnold to come back and reprise his
God.
role? Take 2 of these and call me in the morning.
That's your Arnold. That's it.
Yeah, that was my best Arnold. Okay, I can't do Arnold's accent. I can't do that.
Take 2 of these and call me in the morning.
Yeah, well, that's what he said because he took the little vials out of his little arm thing and was like, "Here, use these to save Alfred. Take 2 of these and call me in the morning." That's what he said. Like, I'm sorry. I know that Batman is no one's favorite,
I like it
but
for
it's
what
my
it is,
favorite.
but it's
okay.
still bad. I like it for what it is.
Batman nipples and everything.
It's so bad. But yeah, I would love him to do like one-offs. Like again, Batman the Animated Series. They did a fucking one-off movie with Mr. Freeze. I fucking cry every time I watch that shit. That shit is fucking sad, and it's amazing. It is the best. Mr. Freeze is probably one of the best.
And there goes Frank's camera.
Yeah, one of the best villains with the like his backstory wise, like just out.
Well, yeah, because he's not like his whole thing again. Like to me, Mr. Freeze almost comes off more of an anti-hero to me than an actual villain. Because his whole thing was just he just wants to save his fucking wife. Like that's his whole goal.
Yeah.
He really loves the chick, you know.
Yeah.
He just wants her to be okay.
Batman Beyond, they did an episode where they actually like, basically like. They were able to like future save him by cutting off his head and putting it in a jar. And so a lady basically said, I can like regrow you and like cure your disease. And he was like, what? And then he like becomes a good guy. And he starts doing a lot of good things until they find out that the disease is not curable. And he ends up turning back into Mr. Freeze again. He's like, oh, and then fucking freezes everything. That's where he goes wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Last thoughts
on
Joker. What are your final thoughts?
Oh, I love the movie. I cannot wait for the second one, which supposedly might be a little bit of a musical, from what I hear.
Well, they gave it a name already, right? Isn't it like a French name?
I don't know exactly what it means, but I know it means part 2.
Yeah, I just happened to see it. It comes out in like 2024.
Yep.
And it's
October.
it's got like a French title. It's like Joker with like a French.
Well, the writer-director's French, so.
Oh, that makes sense.
Which, again, like,
oui.
that's why. I think that's why we got to see the Marcel Marceau scene in the first one. I think that's it. The whole movie's inherently foreign with an American twist, which is I think why I loved it so much, because I do love a lot of the nuance that like foreign films bring. But it was an American story, and so I think this one will be really cool. It'll be interesting. I'm not normally down for musicals because it's hard to impress me with musicals. Like I was shocked at I'm sorry, I said I loved La La Land. I am shocked. I fucking love that movie. Everything except for the first song. The opening scene kind of sucks. Other than that, flawless fucking movie. I cried. I laughed. Cried some more.
I mean, I generally like musicals, but I mean. Sometimes I don't. I have to be in a mood.
I get it.
And but there is one musical episode. I know I'm like wildly off topic, but there is one musical episode of like a TV show.
Okay.
Because you know how every now and then, sometimes you get the TV shows, and then all of a sudden they're like, we're gonna do a musical episode, and you're like, why?
Yeah. Family Guy's done a few of them.
There was one, and it was Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Okay.
And I feel like Buffy the Vampire Slayer kind of knocked it out of the park with a musical episode because they like made it make sense.
Yeah.
Being a musical, because it ended up being a demon that is like a musical demon, which was causing all of them to like just burst out into song for no reason.
Yeah.
And I don't know, they actually gave it a purpose instead of it just being like, oh, we're going to do a musical episode for no reason. Like, they actually gave it a purpose, and it was cheesy and it was campy, but at the same time it was so fun, and like, Still, when I watch that episode, I can't help but sing along. Like, it's great.
What's
great
that
episode.
fucking Archie show? I can't remember the name of the one
Archie
that's
show?
Archie. Yeah.
Oh, Riverdale.
Yeah, Riverdale. So Riverdale does one every season.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yeah. And it like at the first one, I was like, okay, that's not bad. But then like the more it kept going, I was like, I can't. I have to stop watching the whole TV show because it got too ridiculous for me.
Yeah, but I never even watched it.
I actually was obsessed. I loved the show up until season 4, and then it just like. They had to top it every season, and I was just like, how much sex are these people having in high school?
I'm getting so tired of like these shows being so great, and then they just it gets to a certain season, and all of a sudden it's just like everything.
It's just
starts
hard.
going
I get
downhill.
it. It's hard to write.
I get that too, but I mean, I feel like even as a writer or like producer, director for a TV show, I feel like you should feel the same way that like everybody else does. I feel like you should feel that it's going downhill and maybe be like, hey guys, maybe we should kind of wrap this up.
I think it's happening more and more because there's certain shows that like they reach a certain point and they're like, no, like
Sorry, my dogs are a menace today, guys.
Did you ever watch the Carmichael show? It was like a sitcom.
No.
It was a comic who had like a had like a daytime or not daytime, but like a night sitcom. And he only did 4 seasons, and he was like, I was just felt burnt out. I didn't want to like leave on, I want to leave on a high note. And so he ended the show 4 seasons, and he could have had like a 9-season show. But like, I also think that's why you have shows like How I Met Your Mother. Don't get me wrong, that ending sucked ass, and it makes me mad every time. But as a show as a whole, it's a really good show, and it's why those shows are special.
I mean, Game of Thrones is a perfect example. That is a top tier show. Fucking amazing the entire time until the very last season, and then they ruined everything.
Well, from my understanding, the reason that happened is because didn't the show catch up to the books, and then they had to like go in a different direction because they like didn't know where the writer was going.
Yeah, well, they didn't know where the story was going to end up going, so they kind of had to come up with their own basically ending for the story. But at the same time, like they just took it like they just went wrong with it, like just. Yeah, the whole last season was just garbage, and I'm sorry. I can't with that. But I mean, my last thoughts on Joker. I mean, I don't see myself ever watching it again, to be honest.
Yeah, it disturbed you.
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably give it like a 5 out of 10 for me, just because the story was good, the acting was good, like all of that, but just for me and like my own personal preferences. Not a movie that I would be like, I'm gonna watch that again.
Yeah.
So yeah, I give it like a 5.
I would say I almost want to say 9.
8.5.
I want to say like 8. 8.5.
Split the diff.
Yeah, fair enough. 8.5. Like everything was just there for me. It wasn't a perfect movie, but I did like it a lot. So.
Well, I didn't.
Well, there we go.
That's okay.
Now you know. Thank you guys for joining us for another episode of Nerdoholics.
Yep. Glad to have you guys
Jazzie,
here.
where can we find you on all your socials?
Right there on the page. It says so on the video. No,
I forgot I did that.
Beauty.and.the.booze. That's me.
Yeah.
That's where you can find me.
You can find me at Useless Frank pretty much on everything, guys.
Yep.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us again. More episodes to come. Again, like, go on our social medias. Tell us what you want to see.
Yeah, what do you guys want us to talk about?
Yeah, because we would love to talk
about
more.
Give us suggestions so we can talk about what you want to hear us say words about.
Exactly.
Yep.
Things
and stuff and words.
And things.
And yep.
All right, guys.
Okay, you're rad. Okay, bye.